you kind of forecast that this diversification of power at the alliance moving forward, given this latest development. Is that necessarily a good thing in terms of both the corporate governance as well as running Nissan as well as the alliance as a business?
You know, Sherry, I think it'll be really interesting to see how this unfolds and who replaces him. You know, we had expected him to retire in a few years in 2022, but there was really no clear succession plan at all. It's similar and yet dissimilar to what Fiat Chrysler has just faced with, again, the shocking and incredibly tragic death of Sergio Marchionne. But Mike Manley, who has taken over for Fiat Chrysler now, the transition was fairly seamless, and the company is actually doing really well under Mike's guidance. There isn't necessarily that same obvious second in command for Mr. Ghosn. Now, the other thing is that, you know, whoever does restart to replace him, and if they do decide to get a more almost like management by committee, it'll be interesting to see who gets those positions and who leaves those positions, because there's always disruption at the top when we look at these kinds of shocking and very sudden changes.
So any intel in terms of who can replace him at this point? And also, my second part of the question could be that what can Nissan or the alliance do in order to really remove the disruption and uncertainty that the market is grappling with at this point?
Well, we all know that the market doesn't like uncertainty. So I think one of the things they need to really do is to get people in immediately to address this issue. You know, we expect to have several board meetings on Thursday where I do expect him to be removed and stripped of all of his positions. The other thing is that I think that we will see some insiders or people that are familiar with these companies. I think they'll be put into these positions. I don't anticipate an outsider coming in. It could happen, but I think that right now what really needs to be put into place is a group of people that are familiar with his alliance, are familiar with Mr. Ghosn's vision for these alliances so they can execute on them. Again, it's a little bit different at Fiat Chrysler, where Sergio had a 5-year plan laid out. We don't necessarily have that specifics. So it will be something that you know, the management will definitely struggle with.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.